There are so many details that are involved with creating motion graphics that in this video I want to talk about 5 specific techniques that you can add to your After Effects projects that will take your project to the next level within a few minutes. Hey, what's going on internet? This is Josh Noel from SonduckFilm and welcome to our channel. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So, we're always looking for ways to improve our motion graphic work. I'm always looking for ways to expand my skill set. So I want to share these 5 techniques that I've used for years to just help, spruce up my finished work within just a few minutes, because we can always take our work to the next level even if we think it's done. So these 5 techniques I want to talk about in this video are just going to help you take your work to the next level very easily. And you don't have to use them for every project, but just think about while watching this video how this can work for your future project. So let's jump into our video, let's talk about these 5 techniques, and let's get started. Alright, we got After Effects loaded up, and in our first technique we're going to talk about stacking animations. So let's take this very basic title lower third here, and here is the animation by itself, but let's say I want to add just a little bit of extra extended animation to it. I want to add like some multicolor to it. This is a really cool technique just to add a little bit more detail to your project. So what we can do is grab our entire graphic, and we go to edit, duplicate, and we'll take the top layer and maybe offset it by 1 or 2 frames, and then we'll duplicate it one more time and we'll offset that layer by 1 or 2 frames. So now the animation is going to be a little bit extended, but it doesn't look any different. So we'll come here to the bottom layer, we'll go up to Effect, Generate, and we'll grab Fill. And now you can see that there's a little bit of a red extension here. We can change this color to whatever we want. Do blue, then we can copy the fill effect, go to our second layer and paste it, and we'll change the color to another color of whatever our choice is. Maybe we're following a very specific color palette, it's up to you. And now within around about 30 seconds worth of work, we've been able to just extend this graphic and just make the animation more detailed. So this is a really quick, cool technique if you want to add, say, some multicolored animations to your overall graphics. So this next technique is something you've probably seen on hundreds of commercials, and it's simply this light sweep that's going to go across our logo and title. And it's a great animation technique if you want to bring more eyes on a very specific part of a logo or a title. So we'll come up here to Effect, Generate, and we'll grab CC Light Sweep. And you can see the light is right on our title right here, and there's an anchor point, and we can move this around, and you see there's a light sweep going across our entire composition. And I'll just say I'll leave this right here, and we can come here to direction. You can change the direction of the light sweep to whatever you want. You can change the shape to smooth, so it's not as sharp, but sharp is nice. I like that. We can come here to sweep intensity, increase this by a little bit, and then maybe decrease the width. That's cool. And if we want to animate this, we'll go to the beginning of our timeline. We'll add a keyframe for center, move to the end of our animation, and we can easily just move this anchor point to go across our title. So now you can see it moves right there across our comp, and it's just really a nice effect that we can add just to make things pop a little bit more, add a little bit more contrast to our title and logo comps. Alright, now in our third technique, we're going to talk about sprucing up our composition by adding very quick shape animations just to bring more detail to our projects. So for example, let's say that we have our animation built out and it's just a title here, and it's just kind of just boring. Maybe we want to add more level of detail to this. One thing we can do is just add those nice quick shape animations. There's a number of ways to do this, and I'm going to show you which is a very easy way that we could just create something quickly. So maybe we'll come here and grab, say, the ellipse tool, and we'll make sure fill is turned on here and make sure the stroke is off, and we'll come here and draw out a perfect circle, a small one. Hold down shift on your keyboard, and you can use any shape that you want. You don't have to use the ellipse tool, but simply maybe we'll come here to the beginning of our timeline, and we'll open ellipse 1, go to the transform ellipse 1, and we'll add a keyframe for scale. We'll move that keyframe forward in time, maybe by a few frames, 18 frames or something. Set the scale down to 0%, and we'll select both keyframes, make them easy ease keyframes by hitting F9 on your keyboard. And now we'll just have like this circle animating, and that's easy. Then what we'll do, we'll close up the ellipse 1 and we'll duplicate it. We'll put this layer underneath the ellipse 1, and we'll hit U on our keyboard to bring up the keyframes. We'll take the bottom keyframes here and we'll offset them in time just by a few frames. Then we'll close up our shape layer, reopen it, close both these ellipses, and make sure you click on the word contents and you go to add, and you add a merge paths. And we'll open up merge path 1, go to mode, and set this to subtract. So now we have an imploding circle like this. Nice. And we'll make sure to just close up this shape layer so we know how long this layer is. So now we have just one small detail here, and now we can take the shape layer, duplicate it, grab the selection tool here, and we can move this around. duplicate it again, move it, and just continue to create duplicates really quick, and you can easily just move things around. And then when you have enough copies in your timeline, we can just take each of these layers and we can just offset these across our timeline. So now with everything offsetted across our timeline, we've been able to add these quick accent graphics just to be able to spruce up our composition within a matter of seconds. And of course, there's so many different styles and details that you can create with accent graphics. And of course, I have many tutorials on creating accent graphics, so I'll drop a few if you want to learn more about how to create your own unique graphics if you want to spruce up your compositions. And this is going to lead me to give a quick shout out to several After Effects template packs that will allow you to create amazing work within minutes. And two of the packs that I use on almost every single project is called Toko and Create Pack, that allows us to bring thousands of After Effects templates into every single project. And it comes with its own extension here inside of After Effects, meaning we can preview each of these templates before we apply them to our project, and that's amazing. So for example, if I want to apply shape elements to our project like we just talked about in this video, I can preview it and then I click on apply, and now we automatically have this shape graphic applied to our project that we could quickly duplicate and spread around our composition. And we also have our own accent motion graphic pack that we have on our own website, so you can check out all the elements that are within these packs and start saving time on your After Effects projects. So now our next technique is a very simple one, but it's simply just animating your background, because we all work with solid backgrounds, and when we introduce our scene, our composition, it's just sitting there already. So one thing I like to do now is just quickly animate in the background, just add a next level of animation to our comps. So how we can do this is very easy. There's a handful of different ways to do this, but I'm just gonna do this my comfortable way. I like grabbing the ellipse tool and simply just holding down Control and Shift on my keyboard, drawing out a circle from the center, putting this layer underneath our composition, and making sure that this is aligned in the center. So I'll go here to the Align tab and just center this up, and simply we'll come here to the beginning, hit S on keyboard for scale, add a keyframe for it, move it forward maybe by a second or so and be 12 frames, set the scale down to 0%, make the last keyframe an easy ease keyframe by hitting F9 on your keyboard, and now we have our background animating in with our project. So I think it's a nice little touch just to quickly add a next level of animation detail to your composition. Alright, so this next technique involves a few steps, but it's actually a really nice effect, and it might not work for everything, but it's simply just adding a reflection off of your main graphic. So this is a floor that we've added, and we added a reflection off of our main title or main graphic, and it's really easy to do this. Alright, so here we are in our composition, and we have our graphic in here. So what we can quickly do is bring in a texture, so you can quickly search up a nice background texture, preferably black and white. It doesn't really matter, you can make it black and white. And we'll come here and we'll bring in this texture right below our graphic, and we'll make this layer a 3D layer, and we'll hit R on our keyboard for rotation, and we'll set the X rotation to about 90 degrees, actually to 90 degrees. And we'll hit P on our keyboard for position, and we'll bring this down to the bottom of our comp. We can actually bring it a little bit lower if you want. And simply now we'll go up to Layer, Pre-Compose, and we'll call it Floor. Move all attributes into New Composition and click OK. Then we'll take our main graphic, our title, whatever you're working with, and we'll go up to Edit, Duplicate, and we'll bring this layer right above our floor, and we'll go up to Layer, Transform, and we'll flip vertical, and we'll bring this layer down by just dragging it down. And if we want, we can scale this in by make it a little smaller, whatever you need to do to make it fit. So now we have our duplicate in here, and it's fit within our composition. It looks great. However, this is not blurred. It looks terrible. So one thing we need to do is go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and we'll just call it Blur, and we'll bring this blur layer underneath our main graphic. So underneath this should be our duplicated inverted graphic and our floor. And then on our blur layer, let's go up to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, and let's add Compound Blur, and set the blur layer to floor. And now you can see we have this nice reflection on our floor very easily. And one thing we need to do is be able to control the brightness of our floor. So we go into our floor composition, go up to Effect, Color Correction, and we'll add curves, and we can darken this down by a little bit. Go back into our comp, and now we control the overall contrast of our floor. And we'll go back into our blur layer. We can increase the blurriness, of course. You can invert the blur, which is really interesting. So it's really up to you how you want to use this effect, but it's just a nice subtle way to quickly add a reflection off of your main graphic onto a fake floor. So those are my 5 motion graphic techniques that I apply when my work is finished, just to help bring it to the next level and to make my work look like I did more than what I actually did. So, if you found these techniques helpful, I hope they serve you well in the future. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, SonduckFilm, because we post multiple post-production tutorials every single week right here on the channel. You can also hit me up on my social media networks. Those links are in the video description. Always be creating.